Imagine a man desperately clutching water in his hands, squeezing tighter as it slips away. But when he finally opens his palms, he realizes what's left is enough. That's the paradox of letting go. Clinging only leads to loss.
In this video, discover the shocking psychology behind why we hold on too long and how releasing what hurts can rewire your brain for true peace, freedom, and emotional evolution. Stick around to transform your pain into wisdom.
Imagine a man desperately clutching water in his hands, squeezing tighter as it slips away. But when he finally opens his palms, he realizes what's left is enough. That's the quiet paradox of letting go. You can't hold peace while clinging to what hurts. You can't move forward while gripping the past with trembling fingers. Most of us don't realize how heavy our attachments are until life forces us to release them. We hold on to people, to identities, to dreams that once made sense but no longer fit. We tell ourselves that if we just try harder, love deeper, explain longer, maybe we can fix what's already gone. The truth is that letting go isn't failure, it's psychological evolution. Our brains are wired to resist loss. According to behavioral psychology, the pain of losing something is felt roughly twice as intensely as the pleasure of gaining something new. That's called loss aversion. It's why we stay in relationships that drain us, jobs that no longer inspire us, or cycles that have already ended. We mistake familiarity for safety. And safety, even when it's suffocating, feels easier than the unknown. Letting go begins when you realize that clinging is a form of fear. Fear that without what you're holding, you won't know who you are. Fear that the empty space left behind will never be filled again. But what if the space isn't meant to be filled immediately? What if it's meant to breathe, to heal, to make room for something wiser? Psychologists talk about identity attachment, the way we tie our sense of self to external things, our roles, relationships, possessions, or memories. When those change, it feels like we're losing a piece of ourselves. That's why endings hurt so deeply. It's not just the loss of a person or dream, it's the loss of the version of you that existed with them, the self that once belonged somewhere. But here's something rarely said. Letting go isn't a single moment. It's a process, almost neurological. When you release something, your brain has to rewire its expectations. The mind doesn't like blank spaces. It searches for patterns, closure, meaning. That's why we replay conversations in our heads, imagine alternate endings, or wonder what we could have done differently. We're not weak for doing that. We're human. We crave coherence. Yet healing doesn't happen in explanation. It happens in acceptance. Acceptance doesn't mean agreement. It means stopping the argument between reality and imagination. And that shift from resistance to recognition changes everything. There's something profoundly psychological about surrender. Neuroscientists have found that acceptance reduces activity in the brain's amygdala, the part responsible for fear and emotional alarm. When we let go, we're not giving up. We're turning down the inner volume that keeps us stuck in fight or flight. That's why peace feels quiet.
It's not the absence of emotion, it's the recalibration of it. Imagine standing in front of a door you've tried to open for years. You've twisted the handle, knocked, cried, begged, but it never opened. And one day you finally stepped back, not in defeat, but in realization. You see that the door wasn't locked to punish you, it was closed to protect you from the wrong room. That's what letting go often is. Learning that closure doesn't always come from answers. Sometimes it comes from walking away. But we rarely walk away without guilt. Guilt whispers that we're betraying someone. Shame tells us we should have done more. Hope argues that maybe one day it'll return. And so we wait, half alive in emotional limbo. Psychologists call this the ambiguous loss, mourning something that hasn't fully ended or something that ended without clarity. It's the hardest form of grief because there's no funeral for what could have been. To truly let go, you have to learn emotional differentiation, separating what you feel from what's true. You can miss someone and still know they're not meant for you. You can grieve a past version of yourself while embracing the one you're becoming. You can love a memory without resurrecting it. That's emotional maturity, holding contradiction without collapsing under it. So many people think letting go means losing compassion. It doesn't. It means loving from a distance that protects your peace. It means saying, I wish you well, without needing to walk the same path anymore. Compassion without attachment. That's not coldness, that's clarity. And clarity feels strange at first because it's calm. We're addicted to emotional noise. We confuse chaos with connection. So when calm finally arrives, we mistake it for emptiness. But peace is not the absence of emotion. It's the absence of reaction. It's the point where you no longer need to prove, justify, or chase. You'll know you're beginning to let go when you stop rehearsing old scenes, when your energy shifts from trying to fix the past to understanding it, when your curiosity turns from, why did this happen, to, what can I learn from this? That's when wisdom begins, in the space between what was and what's next. There's a subtle truth buried in psychology. The mind heals through narrative. When we retell our pain with new meaning, we reclaim authorship. We stop being the victim of the story and become the narrator who understands its lesson. That's why journaling or talking helps. It rewrites memory from a survival lens to a learning one. In one study, people who wrote about emotional experiences for just 15 minutes a day showed increased well-being and decreased anxiety within weeks. Not because writing erased the pain, but because it organized it. That's what letting go really is. Emotional organization, taking the chaos of memory and turning it into understanding. Still, there's another layer, the physical body. We store emotional tension in muscles, posture, breath. That's why some people cry during yoga or after a long walk. The body remembers before the mind does. Letting go, then, isn't just mental, it's somatic. It's unclenching the jaw, softening the shoulders, exhaling what you've been holding too long. The psychology of letting go is also the psychology of trust, because to release something, you must trust that life continues beyond it, that the unknown isn't punishment, it's potential.
We forget this because loss distorts perspective. When something leaves, we imagine only emptiness ahead. But time reveals that every ending quietly plants the seed of beginning. Think about every heartbreak, every failed dream, every closed door that once broke you. You didn't know then that it was guiding you elsewhere. You only saw the collapse, not the clearing it created. Letting go doesn't erase the past, it gives it purpose.
Our attachment to control is another obstacle. We believe we can manage outcomes. If we say the right thing, try hard enough, we can shape the future. But control is often an illusion built on fear. True strength lies not in forcing things to stay, but in trusting that what's meant to remain will remain without pressure. That's what spiritual psychology calls non-attachment, engaging deeply but without the need to possess.
There's beauty in impermanence if you look closely. A sunset doesn't apologize for ending. A flower doesn't mourn when it wilts. We too can learn to honor moments for what they were instead of resenting them for not lasting longer. Every season has its time, and so do people, memories, and phases of you. Sometimes the hardest person to let go of isn't someone else. It's the version of you that you outgrew. The one who tolerated too much or believed too little. The one who thought love had to be earned. Growth often looks like betrayal to your old self. But that's what evolution feels like. Uncomfortable honesty. Letting go isn't about forgetting. It's about remembering differently. It's about looking back without wishing to return. It's realizing that the story still exists, but it no longer defines you.
And when you reach that point, when your memories become soft rather than sharp, you know you've turned pain into wisdom. Sometimes you'll think you've let go until a song, a scent, a random day brings it all back. That doesn't mean you failed. Healing isn't linear, it's cyclical. Each time the memory returns, it comes back a little lighter, a little less painful, until one day it's just a story, not a wound.
That's the quiet miracle of human resilience. And maybe that's the essence of life itself. Learning to hold and release in rhythm, to give deeply, to love fully, to mourn honestly, and then, when the time comes, to open your hands again. Because letting go doesn't end the story, it simply turns the page. Because in the end, that's what true freedom feels like. Love without possession, mourning without regret, and peace within the fire of a universe of letting go.